Hello and welcome to Cutting to the Bull in the Post-Truth Apocalypse. I'm Ben. As always, I'm hanging out with Mike.
Hello.
Claire.
Hey.
And Pete.
Hi. That was in Danish, by the way.
Not veg.
Not just English. It's hi, which is H-E-J. I nearly said hedge. I listened to the translation.
Language repeat. This week we're going to talk about the Brooklyn Bridge alien abduction. One of the most compelling alien abductions of the 20th century, apparently.
I'd never heard anything about it until I read about it recently, and now I wish I never had.
Everyone that you...
It's compelling. Sorry, Clay, go on.
Everyone that you ever bring up is compelling. Most compelling.
I think I was
Don't
on the
poo-poo it
bench.
just at the start of the episode.
No, that's why I was like holding myself back.
Look, I'm just telling you, most compelling, one of the most compelling cases of the 20th century, allegedly.
Compelling, yes. Believable. Compelling doesn't always mean believable. Compelling just means
Interesting.
exactly.
Attention grabbing.
Yeah, exactly. So don't misinterpret that as just.
This story has everything.
It really does. It really fucking does.
It's a doozy.
It certainly is. Let's just quickly thank some new returning listeners and then we'll get to the cut and thrust of it. Stevens City in Virginia, Lafayette in Louisiana, Cardiff in the UK, Porterville in Missouri, Stevenage in the UK, Bagsværd in Denmark.
That one was for you today, baby.
Yay! Bolton in the UK, Brussels in Belgium, Houston, Texas, Madrid, Spain, Florence in Italy, Auckland in New Zealand, Frankfurt am Main in Germany, Bengaluru, India, Ashburn, Virginia, and Guadalajara, Spain.
Back at the top, Guadalajara.
Thanks for
Welcome back.
listening. Exactly. Yep. Tell a friend.
Tell lots of friends.
Tell lots of friends. Tell more than one. Tell your inflatable doll as long as it listens. I don't care.
Tell all of them we want to take over the world with our podcast. Not literally. Well, unless your name's Ben.
Didn't say a word. You can follow us on Facebook at Cutting to the Bull in the Post-Truth Apocalypse. You can listen to us on YouTube at Apocalypse Bull, and you can follow us on SoundCloud and most other podcasting platforms at Cutting to the Bull in the PTA. A like and subscribe. It helps us grow. Give us a comment. Leave us a message. Suggest a topic.
Yeah, man. Just, all you have to do is give us a quick message on Facebook, just like in any of the things really, and just say, look, you can make a comment on one of our posts. We'll get it, and yeah, we'll reply to you, or one of us will.
And if it's a good suggestion, we'll use it.
100%.
Absolutely.
And we'll give you the credit to it as well. We'd give you, yeah.
No royalties though.
No, but we'd certainly mention you within the credits.
What royalties?
Oh, if there were to be royalties.
When there's royalties.
He's just clearing that up.
This is my point. Get us out there, guys.
Right. After that shameless self-publicisation, let's start. In New York City on November 30th, 1989, an abduction case occurred that revolutionised how UFOologists approach the subject. Or an erratic woman in consort with a few attention-hungry interceptual ufologists spun out an increasingly unlikely yarn where the presence of space aliens stealing people in the night might be the least unbelievable aspect.
Sounds about right.
What are you saying? Eh?
I'm leaving that to people's interpretation.
You know, actually, can I make a lark back to Kelly Hopkinsville for a moment?
Oh, here we go.
Right. When little goblin aliens
Owls.
surrounded a house full of hillbillies who were shooting at them and everything.
Drunken moonshine.
That's the one they made the film of.
Possibly. Anyway,
It is in the Blue Book, the series.
I'm sure there's a film similar to that.
I heard a story that Richard Nixon took Jackie Gleason to see a dead alien body, right? And it was a little goblin alien, exactly the same as Kelly Hopkinsville. There you go.
Did he punch it right in the kisser?
He did not.
Bam!
Alright, this is my little tangent, sorry, just throwing credence onto the fire of Kelly Hopkinsville. Now, UFO researcher Bud Hopkins, very nice guy, Bud Hopkins. You know, if you had an abduction story, you wanted to hear it. He was an artist by trade, and he did hypnotism and hypnotic regression, things like that. Possibly too nice, Bud, maybe.
It's in his name, though, isn't it?
Buddy,
Hey,
Bud.
Bud. Right, buddy.
He stated that, and to quote him, "The importance of this case is virtually immeasurable as it powerfully supports both the objective reality of UFO abductions and the accuracy of regressive hypnosis as employed with this abductee." End quote. According to Joseph Strafer, Richard Butler and George Hanson's examination of this, a critique of Bud Hopkins' case of the UFO abduction of Linda Napolitano. Napolitano, we'll call her Linda from now on.
Yeah.
Lim for short.
It's just Linda's fine. The author Chris A. Ratowski explained that at 3:15 a.m. Linda reported that she woke to see something inhuman in her bedroom. She screamed and tried to wake her husband, asleep next to her, but he would not be roused, so the aliens obviously done something to him.
So who's this Ratowski guy?
He's writing about this thing, about this case. He's writing off Bud Hopkins' book.
Okay. And what was Bud Hopkins' book?
Oh shit, now you've got me. I can't remember the name of it. Well, it'll come to me. It'll come to me at some point. So, husband can't be roused. Little creepy sexist man at the foot of your bed. Bright shining light coming through the window.
You can't even kick it in the nuts.
You can't kick in the nuts because you can't move.
I was going to say,
It's got no nuts.
It's got no nuts.
Might be frozen.
You're also frozen. What are you doing? You probably try and scream your fucking head off, I'd imagine.
I bet nothing would come out.
Yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't. They telepathically silence you.
Bastards.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought
It would be horrifying, wouldn't it?
yeah, the being frozen just freezes everything. All you can do is see.
Yeah.
I don't know, I had this nightmare once where I was being repeatedly abducted by aliens and it was fucking terrifying. Some of the scariest nightmares I've ever had.
Maybe you are.
Maybe you have been.
No, I've only ever had it once.
Doesn't
it
matter.
repeated throughout the night. But it was terrifying. Never had it again, never had it since. I've been watching a lot of X-Files at the time though.
Have you got an implant? You know,
Maybe. Well, how did you go in for a CAT scan? We'll find out.
Were you violated sexually?
I don't think so. I have this urge to fly a plane into a massive UFO. Do you know what it is? So, it's New York City. She lives in a high-rise apartment in Brooklyn on the 12th story, yeah? So you've got this UFO hovering outside the building in full view of the city.
And nobody else has seen this.
People did, well, allegedly people did see it.
Right.
But
Okay.
But who recorded this other than these people?
no one recorded it, that's the problem.
Yeah. So allegedly there was other people that saw it, but where are they? Where's all their statements?
Well, they come later on the
We
story.
do. We meet them later on, don't we?
Yeah, but there's not loads of them, though, is there? As many
You'd
as you'd
think
expect there to
you
be.
would think there would be. The woman on Brooklyn Bridge
It's
did report.
3:15 a.m.
Well, I suppose, yeah.
Come on,
The
I mean,
woman driving across the bridge did report that her car stalled and she saw this thing hovering outside Linda's window on the 12th story. Right, I mean, but then again, the people at the New York Post across the river should have really been able to see this too.
Yeah.
So the alleged aliens floated her out of her 12th story Brooklyn apartment through the wall and into their glowing ship, which snapped shut like a clamshell once Linda and the aliens were within. There they ran the usual gamut of tests, including poking a stick up her nose at a ball on the end and then leaving the ball inside her. This UFO dove into the river. It became a USO.
This is what does make it interesting, is the fact that it didn't have that very stereotypical explanation, and the fact that it went up into the sky or anything like that. They say it went into the river, which is quite an unusual one. So
Yeah.
to me, that does bring a little more validity.
It's not completely unreported. There was the 1967 Shag Harbour incident where a UFO dived into the harbour of the town of Shag.
But
In Canada.
stereotypically, alien.
I know it very well. I
spacecraft
spend my
is up, isn't it?
weekends there.
But the stereotypical thought, sighting, etc., is
Yeah.
always it goes up. It beams you up and you go.
It fucks off into space.
Yeah. So that to me did make it slightly more interesting.
Now, though that experience will be traumatising for anyone, Linda was reportedly not especially distraught over what had happened. Apparently because she has been repeatedly abducted throughout her life. Allegedly, so Linda says.
So this is not a particularly special moment. This happens a lot.
Well, I guess it's an inconvenience, especially if you've got work the next day.
I mean, this specific one. It's just one of many.
Allegedly, according to Linda. Although we are literally scratching the surface here, so I haven't looked into any of Linda's previous abduction experiences, although they allegedly go back to when she was a child. There's a lot to this story, but Hopkins wrote an entire book about it. I'm trying to sum it up in 45 minutes. Abductions were in vogue at the time, and I guess they were. I remember them being reported in the British press over here. What did we used to have on a Sunday? The Sunday Mirror? Or something. That wasn't a Sunday Mirror. News of the World. There's always an alien abduction in the News of the World.
Or the People. You had the Sunday People as well. That was a good one. That always had that kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Weekly World News is at its peak. If you've never read that listener, there wouldn't be a show without the Weekly World News.
Sunday Sport, can't forget that.
Well,
you know what you're looking at the Sunday Sport, Mike? It's not for the aliens.
Yes, different reasons. Certainly not aliens.
Tits and madness, that paper is.
Just boobs, basically. Yeah.
No, there's some mad shit.
Oh,
in there
that
as well.
madness. Yeah.
Obviously, they were in vogue at the time. Whitley Strieber just bought his own book, Communion. I've read that. It's quite harrowing, especially when Strieber describes his own realises he's been sexually violated by aliens. It's disturbing.
It is.
Have you been sexually violated by aliens, Mike?
Not that I know of.
He wishes he had.
Yeah.
Just need to put yourself out there, mate.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's go on Tinder, buddy.
What's the alien equivalent of Tinder?
Glass schnock.
Go on, Glashnook then. I wonder if that actually means anything in a language. I bet it does.
Sounds Russian.
Probably is. It's probably like I surrender in Russian. I don't know.
I highly doubt that. There is no word for that in Russian.
Oh yeah, they just bomb themselves.
I don't think there probably is no word for surrender in Russian.
Well, I've no idea. There must be. There must be one.
Yeah.
And of course, Travis Walton from Fire in the Sky. You heard of him?
Yes.
Guys, Claire.
That might be this. Is that? No, it's not the film.
Decent film.
There is the film you're thinking of. There's not any abduction in it. It's called Fire in the Sky. That's the one.
No, it's not the one with the farmhouse getting like attacked.
No, you're thinking of Signs
No. I'm thinking of another one.
or Scary Movie 3.
I haven't seen them.
No, I'm not thinking of them either.
Fire in the Sky is genuinely terrifying.
Yeah.
That abduction scene is genuinely terrifying. It's like, fuck me, that is awful.
I thought Signs was quite
Creepy Signs was
yeah,
creepy.
yeah. Like there was little bit video footage, little bits of people
When you see that
seeing
fucking
them.
grey walk past the camera, you're
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
that is creepy. I don't like that.
Yeah, when it came out, especially, it was like
No,
very
Gibson won it.
believable, like the way it was done.
So yeah, those tales have been in common knowledge in UFO circles for over a decade, and she's pretty familiar with them because anyone who's into it would know that. At 3 a.m, Brooklyn is far from sleepy, and there are purported independent witnesses to the abduction. If this were true, it's the first time in the history of ufology that this has happened. So is it a Men in Black will get to you or not?
I thought they did it more as a teleport type thing. That's why they're not usually seen, because they'll just teleport you out of your room under cloud cover or something.
A lot of cases involve the witness floating through the closed window or through the wall in some cases. In a beam of light with the little greys were with them, who sort of levitated in the bed and taken.
It's interesting how they can. Well, yeah. How do they get them through the walls and shit
Well,
like
you're
that?
talking about a species that's potentially 40, 50,000 years ahead of us technologically.
Possibly more.
Possibly more. I mean, like their technology would literally... As the more advanced someone's technology gets, the more it seems like magic to us.
To us, he just went through the wall magically.
Look at Star Trek.
When
They literally heal broken bones by scanning a gun at it. That's magic to us, it might as well be.
Well, they could have like a matter disperser and then, make our brick wall sort of so you can go
Yeah.
in and out of it.
Yeah? Who's to say?
Or it's done to the actual people as opposed to the.
Yeah.
Oh, they might as well have like Star Trek.
Demolecularised.
Yeah, they might as well have
Molecularised.
Molecularised.
Yeah, that's a difficult
That.
one.
Mm.
They might as well have Star Trek transporters then, aren't they? Instead of, like,
Beam me up,
beaming
Scotty!
them through the bloody wall.
A really dark theory on how teleporters in Star Trek work on that subject is that it actually kills you and clones you and replicates you at the end.
Nah.
That's why sometimes, very rarely, one of you doesn't die and you end up with twins, so teleporter twins. Riker had one briefly. That'd be pretty dark, though. Every time you went to a teleporter, it literally stripped you away to the molecular level and then just... you just cloned at the end.
They have created teleportation,
They have.
haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in its very early stages, isn't it?
Yeah, but only with light particles at the moment.
That's so good to me.
But it's the start, isn't it?
Well, just
Things that could
imagine you could
happen. I think-
teleport to work, that'd be so much easier.
What they think would be easy would be to teleport a replica. So they just copy and paste.
That's what I mean, that's why you're killed. The
No,
original...
no, the original stays the same. So you're here, and you've got a copy now. Say you teleported onto Mars or whatever.
Eventually, what happens if we meet up? Do we have to fight on a revolving table with heavy sticks like in Flash Gordon?
Why would you want that, Mike? Why would you want a replica?
Well, that's
why-
how they think that's the easiest way it would be done.
But that's why the
we'd still have to live on a burning planet going down. And then,
Whoa, what?
our clothes
That's different. You wouldn't get teleported, then would you?
That's why we're killed. That's why
it.
the original, the copy that's been sent is like stripped away at molecular level, and the replica's put in at the other end. That evolved. That completely gets rid of your entire situation. Because every time you teleport, you have a different fucking you somewhere, and eventually one day you're going to meet up and fight to the death.
There would be a lot of copies if you have to while.
Exactly. It makes sense that the one being sent is like just dissolved, and then you arrive there. The replica of you is arrived there, so no one is the original selves.
Don't invent that shit, Mike.
Yeah. Stop, we'll kill him now, don't worry.
Your idea is stupid. My idea.
Fucking wild.
I'm going to take him out now.
It wasn't my idea. It was probably Michio Kaku's idea.
No, there's why I red dot on your forehead.
I've seen it somewhere.
Well, at the time of the abduction, Linda was a 40-something married mother of two. She is called Linda Cortelli in the Bud Hopkins book Witnessed. That's the name of the Bud Hopkins book. But her actual surname was leaked after mild outside research as she became a mainstay on the UFO lecture circuit. She remembered being returned to her bed and then she went back to sleep. In the morning, she called Bud Hopkins to report what had happened. Straight away, is Bud on speed dial at that point? Or
Probably.
Who is Bud to her at this point?
Bud is, at this point, is allegedly just this really nice guy who, if you've got an alien abduction story, he'll come and hear it, he'll hypnotically regress you, and he'll try and help you through it. He runs a UFO support group at his house every week.
Then that's the first person I'm calling.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
And being
Fuck, I've just
obviously...
been abducted again. What's fresh in my memory? Should we get it down?
That's true. She had read Bud Hopkins' book, Intruders, all about alien abduction, and had attended several sessions of his UFO support group meetings, so there you go. The book Critique of Bud Hopkins' Case noted that after reading the book, Linda remembered that 13 years earlier she had detected a bump next to her nose, in other words, a clear alien implant. It was only after months of encounters with Hopkins that she had her famous experience, although she later became that she had been serially abducted since she was a child. The International UFO Reporter...
Hang on. The alien implant, you just sort of glossed over that. Hold on.
Back up a minute.
Yeah.
Back up.
She remembered 13 years earlier she detected a bump next to her nose, therefore it's a clear alien implant.
Allegedly so.
Did they ever find the implant?
No, 'cause it's bullshit.
No.
Clearly not. No, 'cause it's bollocks!
Well, that's the first thing I'd do.
Yeah.
It could have been removed in a previous abduction and another one put somewhere else.
But she doesn't mention that though, does she?
Well, maybe she doesn't know.
Is the bump still there?
No?
Give
What?
her a ring and ask her. What's her name? Linda what?
Napolitano.
.com. That'll do. Email that.
Still got that bump on your nose.
Well, she thinks she's had a multiple alien implants at that rate then, doesn't she?
Well, there's only one way to find out, isn't there? Stick her in a fucking MRI scanner or a X-ray machine and check her out.
And, well, we haven't got these at this time, and I guess at this point, have we?
Is she dead?
89, yeah.
89? Have we
Of
got
course we have.
MRI scans?
An X-ray. Definitely got
X-ray, yeah. Well, in that case, why not?
That's what, you know what I mean? If you're publicising,
Yeah.
if you're going all through these routes, oh, I've got these implants, right, let's get you down the X-ray.
Yep. Simple, innit?
It is that fucking simple.
It's true enough.
This is why that, although I like this story, there's a lot of it that just goes, she's just a fucking crazy nutter, and
Well,
she managed to...
It's alleged that she always wanted to be something more than a mother of two. She wanted to be an actress, a singer. You know, she liked to be the centre of attention.
Yeah. Which does kind of shout out this... this does shout that, doesn't it?
She's into her UFOs, clearly.
Watched War of the Worlds one too many times.
But we allegedly have witnesses to this, and in which case, if it is true, then you've got the most explosive abduction case ever, haven't you?
But then these witnesses, like the aforementioned paragraph, it said how, was it just people, like you kind of frenzied, overexcitable, enthusiastic UFOologists taking a bit of bait that is just dangling there? I don't know, is it?
Well, I mean, maybe it's Linda making it all up. We don't know.
Yeah, and capturing, over-enthusiastic UFOologists.
The late Bud Hopkins, famous UFO researcher, was a little back dive on Bud. He published Intruders and Missing Time, established the Intruders Foundation, and made frequent media appearances before meeting Linda. And he had served as a witness in a hearing about the competence of a doctor who claimed he'd been abducted because of such strong endorsements and impressive affiliations, and because of his untiring work on behalf of the abductees. Hopkins had become the single most visible figure in the UFO abduction field, and he had. He's a nice guy.
But he's getting notoriety now as well, and fame, and his books are selling more, and you know what I mean?
There's that too.
Well, someone's got to document some of these things, and take
That's
them
true,
seriously.
yeah.
Yeah, 100,000 people claim they've been abducted every year.
The police
Every
don't take them
scientist-
seriously, so he might as well, bring them all together, and you can sort of pick out like patterns and all sorts, can't you? Then, study them.
Yeah, that's it. Well, we want the truth, don't we?
Mhm.
We want them to be, the people that are doing the research and investigation, to be objective.
That's Bud's problem. He probably
Yeah.
wasn't objective enough. That's probably his major criticism. He has.
Yeah.
He was quite happy to believe you. Ghostbusters, we're happy to believe you.
And
That
anything
was
that
good.
was contradictory to that, he wouldn't include in the investigation.
No, he didn't like it being criticised either. But a nice guy.
But scientifically, his things are useless if he's not objective.
I know, but he's still recording people's alleged eyewitness testimony.
There is that.
And it only needs one of them, to be real, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course.
It does, absolutely. Now, Linda's account is nothing too unusual in the pantheon of alien abduction phenomena. Taken from home, run through scientific tests that violated her, put her back in her bed. Bish bash bosh. Abduction, brutally violated, back in your bed. Bish bash bosh. It's a finely honed operation at this point.
The bog
Brutally
standard.
violated.
Well, not brutally. Violated. In an unpleasant way that can't have been very nice. We shouldn't really make light of.
No. If it happened, no.
I wouldn't be too happy on it happening, let's put it that way.
Still, like Hecklefish says, the worst
I love
ways
his name.
the worst ways you could be probed.
There certainly are.
Hecklefish. Wasn't. It sounds like a familiar name. Where have I heard it before?
It's from the Y-Files, isn't it?
We watched the video.
No. At the time when we watched it, I thought
Ah.
it sounds familiar from something else, and I can't think what. Or is it just because of that Mr. Heckles that was in
Friends.
Friends?
Yeah, maybe. Bud's ex-wife, Carol Rainley, said that if the case is run-of-the-mill, Bud seldom did more than a single hypnotic regression with people like that, and rarely returned their phone calls. Because he was looking for something with a higher octane level. Maybe he was.
Maybe he was a womanizer.
Yeah. Maybe he just wanted to get jiggy. Bow, chicka, wow, wow.
Let's go into witnesses.
Witnesses.
Witnesses. Now, in February 1991, Bud Hopkins received a letter from Dan and Richard. According to the critique of Bud Hopkins' case by the previous authors, these two police officers were hiding in their car beneath FDR Drive, which kind of sits kind of underneath and to the side of the Brooklyn Bridge. They could literally see Linda's apartment from where they were sitting, and he would have seen a UFO from where they were quite comfortably. They witnessed a reddish-orange object with green lights, then figures floating out of the window, one in a nightgown. As soon as the figures were within the ship, it plunged into the East River and out of sight. Now, if you've got two potential police detectives sat there,
Yeah.
witnessing this, doesn't that really add to the legit of this?
Well, there's a lot of cases where police are involved.
There are.
Were they police?
Well, no, because we find out later they may not have been police. They might have been there with someone.
Shit, yeah, of course.
They may have well been with someone a lot higher. Might be another witness to this encounter.
The Men in Black type people.
Potential. Well,
Technically, I suppose the UN would run the Men in Black. We'll get to it. Now, Darren and Richard felt profound guilt that they had done nothing to save this poor woman, and over a year later wrote to Hopkins in hopes he knew what had become of her. Hopkins alerted Linda that she might be contacted. A few days later she called him and said that they had paid her a visit. The reunion emotional with their relief. Richard and Dan said that they would not want to meet or talk to Hopkins. However, they would record a cassette tape and write letters. Now, younger listeners, a cassette tape, right, is this plastic thing with some low string inside.
A couple of spools.
Spools, all round things, had this tape between them.
Magnetic tape.
Magnetic tape, and you would record stuff on it.
Sound.
No, I think it would record stuff, yeah, record sound. You'd record the radio, that's how you get the top 10.
Yeah, my older sister used to do that.
I did
Top
that.
40, record the top 40.
You could play through shit songs you didn't like then.
Yeah. No skipping tracks on that, you had to hold down the fast forward button.
Yeah, so like work out 3.5 minutes. No! Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Sometimes you have to get a mangled, you have to take it out and get this pencil in between it.
Yeah.
That's a pencil.
Good old HP, it was perfect for winding them, wasn't it? HB.
Almost
pencil.
like it was made that way.
Yeah. What, does everyone have a pencil? Right.
Exactly.
Let's make sure it can be screwed back
Yeah.
with a pencil manually.
People used to make these things called mixtapes.
Yeah. Yeah, they
Send
did.
them to loved ones?
Yeah.
I don't know, they'd know that, because you could still burn them onto CDs, can't
No
you?
one burns
Burn them onto
CDs anymore, mate. No one burns CDs anymore.
Don't they?
No.
I do.
Everything's digital
I've
now,
got a
mate.
CD player in
You
my
send-
car, why wouldn't I?
You'd send some, because most people use Spotify, and they'll make a little playlist and they'll share the link to a...
Or you just plug your phone into the jack and...
See, I've got a 17
No, you don't do that now, Mike. You get a Bluetooth speaker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta plug your phone in. Oh, you just turn the sound up really loud.
My car's 17 years old. It has nothing like that. I'm lucky it's got a CD player in it. I'm lucky I don't have to use my feet like the Flintstones, for fuck's sake.
Lucky you haven't got a cassette tape.
No, I replaced it for the CD player. No. A few years older though.
Yeah.
Only a few, maybe 2 or 3
Nah, mate,
years older.
CDs were well in by... I mean, I had a personal CD player when I was in college. They were well in cars at that point.
I don't know.
It would have to be before the 2000s, wouldn't it, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be 2001 when I finished college. I had a personal CD player in my pocket that didn't skip.
You could buy them little tapes with the little sort of jack on the end.
You could,
You
yeah.
stick it in the...
That was like really primitive
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
But it did convert it, yeah.
You could play your CD player through the tape deck.
Either way, let's stop sounding like old people. Right?
My day!
That's all gone now.
Yeah.
Forget it, it's gone.
According to Skeptics UFO newsletter, their letter to Hopkins stated, quote, "Please respect the importance of our credibility at work. We just can't be identified." And I guess, as a police officer, you certainly wouldn't want to be seeing alien ships abducting people. You wouldn't want that getting out, would you?
No.
Nope, not in the 80s.
Probably still wouldn't even now, unless you have video proof to back it up.
And then they've all got body cams, technically, haven't they?
Well, yeah, if a police officer is on duty and they see anything, there's no fucking excuse anymore, is there?
Well, it's different now, isn't it? Because even the American Congress are like, you know, we're investigating this now seriously. So they've got channels open now, haven't they, for people to report this shit.
Yeah, but you still got to go to your captain, your hard-bitten New York captain. You know.
I think times are starting to change now.
I went New York. Like that, to say New York. And I fucked up the captain bit, I went South African. Yeah, he's probably called like Pitovsky or something like that. He's hard bitten, he's been in the job for 40 years. Just waiting for his pension to come on, you know.
Again, I think
you got to say
back
to him,
to the 80s.
Maybe I am looking back to the 80s with that. You're right.
Yeah, it's probably a 30-year-old woman nowadays
Yeah.
who's the police chief.
Maybe, yeah, times have changed. Now, Hopkins said he did not know their last names, having only conversed with them via letters with no return addresses. According to the Skeptics UFO newsletter, Richard told Hopkins, "If by any chance you have a message for me, please give it to Linda."
Now, you can listen to the recording, can't you?
You can
And read the letters if you want.
Yeah, if you want to get your mind blown out by a really annoying voice.
The letters are quite convoluted and...
It's really weird. They're not. It hurt my ears the way it was being read. And
you
that.
literally witnessed like the mental breakdown of one man over a series of letters.
Yeah, that is a way to put it.
Because Richard and Dan become kidnappers shortly after. In April 1991, Richard and Dan snatched Linda off the street. They interrogated her as she worked for the government or was one of the aliens, and they demanded that she remove her shoes. Aliens, it seemed, did not have toes.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
They've been watching fucking... what have they been watching in them days?
The X-Files, 1991. Wasn't it?
This was 1990. Oh, 1991, yeah.
Maybe. Nah, not quite.
X-Files.
Nah, but
93,
93, 94.
I reckon 91. I reckon you're looking at... I reckon 1990 you're looking at the X-Files starting. That's what I'm going with. 1990. I'm going with 1990. It's a bold claim, Carter. Let's see if it pays off.
You got the Invaders. It was an old 60s.
Well, you got the Twilight
I
Zone.
love being right.
I
love being right.
93.
Yeah.
Twat. Didn't pay
I'm
off,
right as well.
But to be fair, it probably wouldn't have come here till 94, 95.
Yeah. Alright. Well, he's still got Twilight Zone.
Yeah, I was trying to think of what he'd been watching to like get some kind of... I don't know, yeah, it's just... It sounds like Wizard of Oz bullshit to me, that. Take off your shoes!
Well,
Witches don't have toes!
A few months later, it gets dialed up to 11 because Dan actually outright kidnaps her off the street, bringing her to his beach house. Right? In the house, she saw 2 framed pictures of herself, one of her kissing her son.
That's creepy.
Yeah. They forced her to put on a nightgown, more of a negligee, to match the one from her abduction, though she admitted like when she went over her clothes with it, she got them down to that. And then Dan tried to have sex with her.
Yeah, they don't sound like policemen anymore, do they?
Bit rapey, aren't they?
Well, they do
Actually,
really
that sounds just like policemen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, but...
Some of them. A percentage of them, certainly.
There's a massive scandal at the moment, isn't there, with the Met Police?
Yeah, but you're talking thousands and thousands and thousands, and you're talking a handful, aren't you? Potentially, realistically. So it's not as big as the media make it, I'm sure.
It's probably... Well,
Come on, in the 80s, they're all crooked cops at this point.
no, you'll just need a life on Mars. Just because you want to be a cookie crop and drive around in a Ford Cortina.
Or a Capri.
Or a Capri.
I'd go with the Capri.
Yeah, Capri. Yeah. Either way, not cool. Dan, not cool.
Definitely not cool.
When Linda resisted, she's just a runner at this point. She's running across the beach. He catches up with her and he tries to drown her twice.
What?
Yeah, each time he almost does it, and he holds her in his arms and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry."
Yeah, we want this whole way to start a family.
Yeah, she tries to get away, and he drowns her, tries to drown her again.
start a family.
Yeah, let's go run away and start a family together.
What?
So this sounds more of like some crazy obsession for the woman.
Yeah.
Like, rather than them being actual witnesses to the...
Well, he's clearly not taken what he saw well, has he? His reality has been broken.
It's caused him to have some kind of proper mental breakdown.
Yeah.
I think that's the part that's been missed out.
He
within
literally
this.
he allegedly ends up in a mental institution after this, doesn't he? After this incident, when Richard turns up like the knight in white armour and saves the day.
Like we said, you listen to the would it be a monologue of the what would you call it? The transcripts of the letters and
Yeah.
that. It is literally like the breakdown of the man's mind.
Yeah.
From letter to letter, you just see it slowly getting worse.
So
and
Richard's
it's
coping with it, and Dan
Yeah.
really isn't coping with this.
Whatever he's seen and witnessed, allegedly, has caused this effect on him.
And she went straight to Bud Hopkins that night.
Yeah, dishevelled, covered in sand, traumatised with the experience. A few days after the incident, Richard mailed Hopkins photos that Dan had taken when Linda was running from him. You can't see these photos. They're literally just someone in a white... Linda could have taken them
It
herself.
doesn't prove anything.
It doesn't...
A son could have
She's,
took him.
she's running on the beach, she's got clothes on and there's this nightgown.
See, it was the pictures that were taken took all validity away from me, because why is this guy taking fucking pictures of her running away?
Well, he's
from
having a
him?
breakdown.
I know, but
And he's obsessed with her.
he's taking pictures.
Maybe it'll be like
I don't know.
when she's
It
finally
really makes
when
sense,
she's
but-
finally accepted to be his wife and lover. He'll put that in the thing. Remember when we ran on the beach that day, honey? Look how pretty you look with your hair flowing. You're wearing that nightgown that I bought you. Remember we had fun that day? That's what it'll be in his head.
Yeah.
In 1989, given the circumstances, etc., I just don't believe that he had his. He thought, I'm going to take my camera out and take some pictures of you whilst you're running away.
1991, he could have a disposable camera.
Well, no, I know, but why would you even? Why would?
Well, that's the thing. Why would you take a camera with you? But unless it's for the reason I said, where he's like, "Look at that day, honey," you know.
He's not in his right mind, so you can't.
Yeah.
A normal person wouldn't do that.
Which is the one fight in my mind about
Yeah.
that scenario. But at the same time, I just find that staged. It was that look. Those pictures look staged to me. It just looks like obvious. I don't know. It's just weird.
And you were believing it up until that?
But there was parts where I thought, okay, and then it would like get shot straight back down with a bit of nutsness and a bit of like, all right, yeah, you've taken away all credibility now.
Well,
And it gets even madder.
I guess this is where we take it down a step further into madness. Because on November 22nd, 1991, Richard wrote that he recalled dreams about a girl from his childhood called Baby Ann. He never knew her real name, so that's what he called her. She never knew his real name, so she called him Mickey. When told this, Linda remembered an imaginary friend called Mickey, who was actually Richard. And this progressed into their bonding under the direction of aliens, which sent into sex, during Richard fathered Linda's son Johnny.
So,
Yeah,
Richard was having dreams about a girl.
yeah,
He called her Baby Ann. She was having dreams about a boy. She called him Mickey.
yeah.
Then later found out that they were both dreaming about each other in the dreams.
Had sex in
Had
the
sex
dreams.
when the aliens got them together, made them have sex. Had their son Johnny. What happened to poor Steve?
Steve, Steve couldn't even wake up and he's now a cook. He's a cook, he doesn't even know he's a cook, he's a secret cook, isn't he?
I'm gonna say.
Because he doesn't even know. He
He
doesn't know.
slept through the all of
He
it.
slept through all of it and she's been having dream sex. Well, alien dream sex. Well, alien abduction dream sex.
But they did meet up in real life.
The aliens, they were both abducted
Yeah, they put.
and then the aliens like, hey, she likes you.
And then they forgot. They made them misremember everything. They went back to their normal lives. Oh, I've got a baby. It must be Steve's. And Richard goes on with his life. And then they happen to be the ones under the window witnessing this at that time. That's brought them back together.
Craziness.
You don't say. And now the third man. There was a third man in the car with Dan and Richard that night.
There was. Bud Hopkins received a letter from Dan, the mad one, stating that they were actually security officers who had been driving, quote, a political figure of international significance, end quote, that night. This notable also contacted Hopkins about the third man. Linda was able to repeat entire sequence of this letter, seemingly verbatim. So if you want to throw it out there, maybe she wrote it herself.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, to be honest. But I'm thinking Richard and Dan are good friends of hers, and this is all just a fucking weird bullshit plot to get.
Maybe it's some kind of like menage a trois going on.
They were trying to make fucking money off it. That could be the crux of it, couldn't it? They were all just trying to make some fucking money. They were all trying to get a bit of media coverage. She was trying to shoot herself into the limelight one way or another. And she had
Ask
a
me
couple
again
of
at the end
friends.
about Linda's royalties. Ask me again at the end.
Okay.
So who was this third man?
The third man is then United Nations Secretary General Javier Perez de Cuellar,
The UN Secretary General.
the most important politician on the planet.
What was he doing there?
He was in the car with Dan and Richard when he
With two security guards.
just having a chill,
Bullshit.
taking in the city.
Bullshit. Most important man, he'd have had a fucking motorcade around him, especially in 1989.
Well, not if he was picking up prostitutes and shit, you don't know, do you?
Well, I suppose.
Wow, straight away went to that.
Well, what else?
It's-
It's doing creeping around at 3 a.m.
Yeah, I suppose.
It's actually also a valid way of protecting VIPs, such as
taking him out midnight, like
Well, yeah.
incognito.
instead of taking them out to the bulletproof limousine with 4 or 5 armed guards, you take him out with a couple of guys dressed in jeans and a t-shirt, stick him in civvy clothes, and just make it look as if you're a bunch of guys on a night out, or it's 3 in the morning, just some guys on the way home.
Don't even need that.
And even if someone does recognise him, they're going to go, Christ, that bloke's a spit of so-and-so.
He's probably not getting out the back of the back of the car.
Exactly, anyway, it's a bit of tinted glass, it's dark. When people go for late night drives to calm their minds.
No, it's a prostitute.
Went for a spliff, or a bit of dogging.
Are you suggesting, Mike, without any evidence, that the head of the UN at the time, Javier Perez de Cuellar,
probably
was out
happily
looking
married.
for hookers?
He's probably happily married with children and everything. How dare you suggest such a
You
thing?
never even said allegedly.
I don't even think he was there.
No, I don't either. I don't.
But in the story, yeah, allegedly he was looking for hookers.
Well, he confirmed he was safe at home at that hour, allegedly. To quote him, he said, I cannot but strongly deny the claim that I have had an abduction experience. But he would say that. Wouldn't he? Eh? Now, according to Skeptics UFO newsletter, de Cuellar had been abducted along with Linda and had seen her on the beach. But no one could contact him about this because the UN was working with aliens to end the Cold War.
Which does link to like our last episode, which with the whole Space Force and things like that.
Yeah?
You never know.
You never know. Never know for sure.
That's me trying to believe this story.
November 12th, 1993, according to the Skeptics UFO newsletter, Hopkins tagged along with a reporter to meet de Cuellar. Funnily enough, at what's Denver Airport? You know the place that's creepy with the big blue
That's where you met him.
it's mayor of Denver Airport, yeah.
Oh, now I believe it. Now I definitely believe it.
Hopkins tagged along with a reporter to meet de Cuellar at Denver Airport with the blue horse and the potential Nazi connection and reptilian connection.
Have you guys seen that?
No, don't think so.
Denver Airport.
Oh, the artwork in there, Christ, it's amazing. It's creepy as hell. Oh, check it out. We did an episode on it a long time ago. Have a look at it. And the reporter launched into questions about UFOs. De Cuellar, to their frustration, turned the conversation towards politics. Evasion as good as a confession, allegedly. Hopkins stated until he decides to go public, he cannot have much inner peace. Hopkins claims that he met with him privately had a bit of a chat, and he told him everything. They woke up he woke up on the roof of his car, and his 2 guards woke up in the car.
So was she really kidnapped?
Well, she wasn't kidnapped.
Yeah.
Because you'd think like an attempted murder and rape should be reported to the police.
100%.
Yeah.
It's like triple attempted murder.
Ladies and gents, always report it and always fight back. Apparently Linda didn't fight back.
Oh, come on. You can't say that.
She had no scratches or marks, apparently.
How did she get away then? And run across the beach?
Well, because he...
It was all an act!
It was only 'cause
She
Dan,
says she didn't resist too much.
It was only because Dan didn't go through with it each time. But I mean, you say fight back, I mean, you don't know how powerful Dan was. He could have been a big man.
Well, he's a security officer, so he's meant to be a big chap, isn't he?
I doubt he could fight back.
Bud Hopkins says the authorities were complicit in what Dan and Richard did.
So it was legal.
Yeah.
Well, the British government have legalised rape for police officers, haven't they? No? Undercover.
Really?
What?
Yep, they're allowed to rape and steal and murder now. As long as they're undercover. It's right, isn't it?
Yeah, there's statutes to it. I mean, you just can't go around doing it willy-nilly. It's sort of a double O
Literally
license, isn't it?
legalised.
The name's Bond, James Bond. Now I'm going to rape you.
If they're put in that position, right, where they've got to do something they don't want to do,
Without blowing their cover.
they're blowing their cover and they do it,
then
they get immunity from it.
Right.
Okay.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, but it's kind of like you say it though.
I mean, all right, you can't. If you're in deep cover, you have to do some nasty shit, aren't you?
But when you do bear the brass balls of it, it is like what Mike said. So it does
Yes, but that is
become a bit more horrifying, doesn't it?
Yes, but also that is you do sign up knowing that you might have to do some heinous shit. It's not going to come as a shock to you, is it? You sign up for that thing knowing you're going to do some heinous shit.
So all those times, all those Bond women, was he really using GHB?
Well,
is that why he was always getting these super hot women?
47 no's and one yes is still one yes.
Walking around with the name's Bond, James Bond. Yes, my name's Pussy Galore. Let me get you a drink. Where's my GHB? Bear with me 1 minute. That was my worst Sean Connery impression. I do apologise.
What's GHB again?
Date rape, drug
Oh, is it? Oh, right. Okay.
Rohypnol.
That's the one I've heard. I never heard of it called GHB.
Rohypnol for those kids out there that are a bit more strict.
Practically everybody.
I think they've probably got better stuff than that now, from what I can gather.
Yeah.
Injecting is actually now a new trend, really, so jab someone with a syringe in their ass.
Makes me fucking sick.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
That's spice, innit? That's popular now, innit?
Spice, that
Synthetic
cannabis, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not Rohypnol though, is it?
No.
No.
That's right.
No.
I was wondering if they're using it like that or something somehow.
If you are ever inspired, report the police, but the point is Linda didn't report any of this to police.
Yeah, that's stupid. Isn't it?
Is that because if she reported the assaults, that would become a crime? It would become a crime if she turned out she was lying, wouldn't it?
Yeah, perjury.
Or was she too afraid to go to the police because of these clearly intimidating, heavy-duty fucking special ops fucking security officers? Because if they're personal security officers of like the head of the fucking UN,
They're probably up to special forces standards, aren't they?
They're like super hard martial artists, hand-to-hand expert, weapon expert. They're the lot, aren't they? If they are who they allegedly say they are.
Yeah. Now when the skeptics, Stafula, Butler and Hanson sort of questioned Bud about things like, hey, why haven't they got involved then? It's, the police. His associates appeared to literally panic and argue against reporting it. When they travelled to the alleged abduction site, that's the skeptic guys, Stafula, Butler and Hanson, they discovered a guardhouse staffed 24 hours a day, none of whom even reported a light. They called the apartment manager and heard nothing from any of the other 1,600 residents of the apartment. Where Dan and Richard witnessed the abduction, or were abducted, was across the street from the loading docks of the New York Post, and no one there had seen anything.
And they would have been there at that time in
Yes.
the morning, definitely.
The account of that is that the researchers only asked the manager, who was at the back office, and he didn't ask any of the staff.
But surely, if anybody had seen it, you'd be like, "Oh, Bob! Fucking look at that! You see what I'm seeing?"
Well, that's it.
You'd
isn't
have
it?
fucking the whole staff out there within minutes, wouldn't
Yeah.
you? 100%.
Janet Kimball's now the driver on the Brooklyn Bridge when all the cars stopped. She first assumed this is a sci-fi movie being filmed in 1991. She wrote Bud Hopkins a letter. According to Bud Hopkins, he went to speak with Kimball and wanted Linda to come. However, Linda refused, worried about someone else finding out who she was. And when Hopkins brought up a woman floating to a UFO in conversation with Kimball, she asked, "You know her? What happened?" Sando claimed that Hopkins didn't tell her anything, and Kimball later told Hopkins, "I wouldn't pursue this any further, Bud. I just want to drop it now." Mary Kilmer claims she was abducted separately with Linda, including Linda's son and Javier Perez de Cuellar, the latter whom she allegedly identified from a photo. They were noted that Kilmer would later no longer agree that any abduction had occurred, stating that only Bud and Linda know the truth. Warned off or just a mad woman?
I'm about...
Because identifying someone from a photo, I was there with this other guy, is this him? Yeah, that's him. It's meant to be someone important, isn't it? You're going to hold up Hobo Bob off the street.
I just find it... There's too many things that are a bit too fanciful and a bit too far-fetched for me. There's some snippets of there that I do find believable, but the snippets, I'm like 80-20. I'm not on the fence. I'm peering over it like Wilson in Home Improvement.
One of Linda's former neighbours, we'll call her Francesca, remembered an eerie light, though she wasn't sure of the date, and Francesca later thought she might have been abducted, but rescinded that when her 8-year-old decided he had been there as well. Odd.
So the 8-year-old had seen it as well?
Yeah, so he'd been there as well when she was abducted with them. So Dan and Richard basically confessed to have been carrying out surveillance of Linda's movements prior to their initial meeting, yet they waited over a year to write a letter to a random ufologist instead of knocking on Linda's door. If they're government agents, surely they'd have better resources than Bud Hopkins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose they would, yeah. Greg Sando, in the International UFO Reporter, noted that American agents would not be guarding the Secretary General. The UN has its own security, and given that Dan had been institutionalised, should he still have security clearance and a gun? Additionally, Dan supposedly wrote a threatening note from a mental institution on the same typewriter as his usual letters that was mailed from the United Nations. Did he take it with him when he was committed, or? I'm taking the typewriter. Linda confirmed that she had erroneously said she would be getting half the proceeds for Witness to the book. There you go, Pete, there's your royalties. Actually turned out to be like 25% from any film and or book deals.
Strange that, innit?
Yep, there you go, there's a motive.
Exactly, that's your motive, innit?
Mm-hmm.
I bet she was fucking begging to be like star actress in it at first.
Possibly. Also worth pointing out, Bud did not seek out interviews with people who might have seen anything on the night of Linda's abduction, instead relying on self-reporting. Now, if he had gone after people and said, "Did you see this?" then my God, you've got one hell of a case for the most prolific UFO abduction of all time.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're relying on these anonymous letters, essentially, and they are anonymous letters, aren't they? From Dan and Richard
Well,
and a video and a cassette tape.
What is he meant to do? Interview 166 people in the apartment.
1,600 people.
However many people are in there.
Well, the one woman said she'd seen someone on the bridge, chase it up, see, do you remember seeing anyone else?
Put an ad in the
Put an ad in the
paper.
paper, were you on the Brooklyn Bridge at 3:15 a.m. on this date?
Yeah, maybe saying anything
That's still getting
suspicious.
self-reporting though, isn't it? People coming forward.
It is, I suppose, but if you're seeking them out, at least you're doing something. But to not put anything out there would be even worse, would be even less self-reporting, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when sceptical researchers did try and investigate his case and his methods, Bud Hopkins ordered them to stop.
Oh dear.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, that is interesting. Hopkins did attempt to find Richard and Dan, though. He assumed they would be very easy to locate because we not only have excellent descriptions of both, but also knew their real first names. However, he was unsuccessful. He concluded it was virtually certain that Dan and Richard worked at one of our country's secret intelligence agencies, and so would be nearly impossible to locate.
If they were undercover, yeah, they would be, wouldn't they?
Well, yeah. I suppose would the UN have 2 Americans guarding him in on American soil? Maybe they knew the ground better than anyone else. There's that possibility. You want someone who's not going to get lost in a new city, don't you? Surely the UN have their own resident bodyguards at that location.
Yeah, you'd want the American ones, wouldn't you, to find where the best prostitutes are? Because they'd know the city.
Man, you've got a fascination with this guy shaking prostitutes. Do you want to be cooked by him or something?
Hey?
Do you want to watch Jaquela fucking a prostitute or something?
Why not? Nothing better doing. Going on.
Incredible people believed the critique of the Bud Hopkins case. And it notes that John E. Mack, MD, a Pulitzer Prize winner and former head of the psychiatry department at Harvard Medical School, had praised Hopkins' work. That's a fairly impressive title to be defending somebody's work like being in it on like old Hopkins.
And he's got a cool name as well.
John E. Mack, MD.
He does sound like an old 40s fucking reporter.
MD and PI.
Alright, the name's Johnny Mack. What's the deal here, guys?
I'm just hearing, Johnny, oh Johnny Mack, where are you coming back?
Oh shit! I'm going to throw an RIPD to Tina Turner. You just tricked my memory with that song for some reason. Likewise, Charles Stronzer, a MacArthur Prize-winning historian and psychoanalyst who attended the hypnosis sessions, said that Linda certainly wasn't a fraud. She was articulate in her feeling and appealing in the sense that you got drawn into her story. Also attending was Gibbs Williams, a psychotherapist who said, "The lady is for real. She really was shaking. You can't fake that." He did clarify that Linda couldn't fake it unless she was a psychopath on an extreme level, and she's no psychopath. There you go.
I don't believe that she was faking it, but she's probably just the memories that they weren't hers. That she was unlocking. It was something she'd read or
something she's thought up,
yeah,
and she's made herself believe it.
Could be
to the point that it
seems real to her.
Yeah, it seems real to her. So she, do a lie detector test, whatever. It'll come out true.
If you put her through a lie detector test, well, number one, it's not admissible in court as evidence, and number two, the success rate is, if she really believes what she's saying, it won't pick it up because it's all about the heart pumping and the blood pressure and all that. But if she believes what she's saying is the truth, that won't change.
That's what I'm saying. She believes it.
Well, yes, it'll make no difference, will it?
Still think give her a fucking MRI scan and a
God, yeah.
X-ray.
So what about if they went together? She did share some of the profits of witnessed, although not half. I think it was about 25%. Her prior work with scientists, research might give study participants stipends of $10 or $20 a visit. Maybe it was about attention.
That's what I think it is.
It was mentioned that Linda claimed to that evidence that she has immortal red blood cells and led people out of the World Trade Center on 9/11 barefoot over broken glass at the psychic direction of aliens. That's a bold statement to make, isn't it?
I call absolute bullshit on that. Shameful for even fucking making up bullshit like that. Because
why didn't if the aliens were psychically connected to her, why didn't they tell her about what was going to happen so she could stop it?
What, she runs into the tower screaming, "The plane's going to hit in 10 minutes, everyone get out!" Everyone's going to think she's a lunatic and have her arrested.
No, she could have called in a bomb scare and they'd have all been evacuated. Simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have put a crimp on Al Qaeda's day, wouldn't it?
So she's a fucking
You mean
selfish
Rumsfeld
bitch.
State?
Sorry, Rumsfeld's Day, yeah, allegedly.
So really, she's a selfish bitch. She could have stopped 9/11 then.
If, in theory, I guess.
If she was there to be dragging people out in the fucking rubble with bare feet.
No, she said
She obviously knew about it.
She was
psychic. She wasn't
Yeah.
there. She was psychically.
No, she was there.
Being psychically
Being
told
controlled
to
by aliens,
by
yeah.
the aliens.
Oh.
But if she was there, sure, you know what I mean? It all happened very quickly, so she weren't fucking taking anybody out by the time they collapsed, was she?
Yeah.
They weren't having no civvies like running in there like fucking a superhero. People were getting
Like Batman.
cordoned and you know what I mean?
And a lot of this happened in Bud's book, wasn't it? Was it Bud's book?
Yeah.
When there was someone that was abducted by aliens from their apartment building in New York City. That was in the story. So was Dan Richard.
Oh, no, it wasn't Bud's book, it was someone else's book. I can't remember the name, but there was
Yeah.
a book written about this.
Yeah,
It kind of does follow the
a
pattern.
sci-fi book, and there's a lot of stuff in there that's very similar. Which is, I think she's read it. She's believed that she was the woman that was abducted, and that's why she's regressed it and hit
Well,
That's
look at
my
the-
theory.
The suggestibility of some people, that
Yeah.
guy that shot fucking what's his face in
John
the-
Lennon.
John
After
Lennon.
reading what Catches in the Eye,
Yeah.
which allegedly is on ban lists in the US. Still can't read it. Can't buy that book.
Doesn't surprise me. You know,
Catch in the Eye. People used to get taught it at school, but now they don't.
but yeah, so well, that's what I mean, the power of suggestibility. Sometimes people look at the way terrorists interpret the Quran.
Oh yeah.
People read things and interpret things from it, so maybe she read that and interpreted something from it like it was her, it was telling her it was her, just like it told Guy to shoot fucking John Lennon, you know what I mean? It's just,
Well, maybe. Or it was a case of, I bet no one's read this before. It's a really obscure sci-fi book.
yeah.
I could steal some of this. This is a good story, this. I could make some money out of this. I could be the centre of attention.
And that's
I got
what,
my acting skills to use.
that's what I think it was, mate. She was a budding actor, she could play the parts that she needed to play to manipulate people.
And she got someone to play the part of Dan in the recording.
Yeah.
And of course, Bud gets a book out of it.
How can we prove this? Take some pictures. There'll be photo evidence. Okay. So they took pictures of her running down the. It's all too fucking obvious. I don't know. Why would you? The old pictures of her fucking running down the beach for me went pooed all over it.
Too staged.
100%. So I just call bullshit on it. That's the one thing that really made me call bullshit on the whole thing. And then the rest of it afterwards as well, just again.
And the fact that he didn't go canvassing to find people or just knocking on doors. I know it was 3:15 in the morning and whatnot.
Well, ask the residents in the building. I mean, it's a blinding white light coming through a window.
He didn't know about it until the next day, to be fair.
But either way,
There's all them guys in the New York Post on the loading bay they never asked.
think of all the hobos that live out by the docks and by the
Oh, I
edge of
don't know.
All the
water and
prostitutes walking down.
You were prostitutes in New York?
Yeah, I went straight
I watched
down
Taxi
asking
Driver
them.
last night.
that. There'd have been a bunch of hobos stood around a fucking fire pit of some form.
And 89, I'm 90, I'm going Giuliani, isn't he clean up the city at that point?
What is he like? Fucking brushing them all into the river.
Pretty
itself?
much,
I
yeah.
forgot about the pimps as well.
Get out! Yeah, pimps and hoes.
And the drug pushers.
This something is 1991 New York, Michael, what?
Sin City, innit?
I don't think it was a very nice place in
The
1991.
Big Apple.
Nah.
Giuliani cleaned it up, to be fair to him. Crime
Tried
rates
to.
went drastically down.
He
For a
took a
little
bite out of an apple.
He certainly did.
Eve.
Oh, well, yeah, and
Sin City in it, the Big Apple.
since it's Las Vegas, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, since it's Las Vegas.
Oh, is it?
Well, you got the gambling, haven't you? That's where your prostitution's at, not New York. It's in Vegas.
Nah,
You've got casino hoes, haven't you?
I think New York's got its fair share of prostitution.
Well, yeah, you say you got casino hoes. You know, you win big, get a casino hoe in.
Like, don't get me
Put it
wrong.
on call by the management.
don't get me wrong, in Las Vegas, it's part of the deal there, from what I gather. You can go there and get some hoes and do some gambling.
Well, it's legalised in Nevada, isn't it?
Oh, not certain.
Nirvana or Nevada?
Nevada.
Probably in Nirvana, I'd imagine.
Pretty sure there's brothels in Nevada.
It's got to be.
Yeah, fucking loads. Did you go get married by fucking Elvis Presley and shit like that?
I've always wanted to get married by Elvis. And I hate Elvis. So I really want to get married in a tacky Las Vegas because
Shotgun wedding.
Literally a proper shotgun wedding. I get two people off the street to come in and get married by Elvis. I've always wanted to do that.
So is this your next holiday on your own? You're just
Possibly.
going to go out to Las Vegas.
I'll come back with a wife.
You're going to fucking marry some prostitute and bring her home.
Yeah.
Meet Candy. Where are her teeth? Oh, she's just left him in the bathroom.
It's not Candy, it's Randy.
Mate, she's like 74. No, she's not. She's only 30. I've seen her birth certificate and everything. What?
Ben's in a birth canal.
Are you picturing Candy then?
Yeah, I was like, oh man, that's a good. Should I earn more than that? I don't know, do I? That's a problem. No, because what I do is go over there, save a bit of cash, go over there, act like I'm fucking royalty, you know.
It's
Not me posh voice. Pretend I'm the third Duke of Winchester.
It would sound posh because we're English.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't sound
Any
posh knocking
Ameri-
out to me H's and rolling me arse.
Any American, we still sound posh.
I just put on a proper posh voice, and then go over there, say I'm the third Earl of Winchester.
Deputy Mayor Dawley.
Well, yeah, you could say that, and that would hold ground there. Because
Well, it would, actually.
they're
Really
really
hold ground there.
The mayor?
Holds ground anywhere.
Yeah, it does. Sorry. Yeah. Anyway.
You're recording this in my turf, remember?
Okay. I didn't think this was your turf.
It is.
I suppose the whole of Dawley is now.
I'm back to Tory Annesley. Yeah. There you go.
First step to controlling the world.
So overblow it. Where were we if we started mocking my achievements?
Strange how I saw armed police the other day just after Ben's got in charge a bit.
You can't put that on me.
Ben was running around with a knife. I'm the deputy mayor. You will do as I tell you. Don't bid my bidding and my command.
I wasn't riding a white horse
No,
and carrying a
it's just-
sabre
it's just-
that way.
It's just a sign that times have changed, isn't it, Mike? With, armed police about the place.
Oh, it's tragic, isn't it? I mean, it was a fake though, from what I gather. It was a hoax.
I believe it was a hoax.
Praise their response.
Yeah, we're pretty close, aren't we?
They told you did something right.
Anywho, so what do we think? Yay, nay?
It's a big nay from me.
Ben?
You know what? I want to surprise you all. You know how my slut phrase. I love a good UFO story. And if this is true, if this is accurate, then you've got the biggest UFO abduction story of all time. If my issue is he hasn't got enough witnesses for the area he's in. Right?
Such a busy city.
It may be 3:15 in New York, but isn't it the city that never sleeps?
100%. And it's been that way for a while.
You've got all those guys on the New York Post on the loading docks, and he went and asked the manager who sits in the back. Never asked any of the guys at the front. The Brooklyn bit still was doing busy. Yeah, we got this one witness who says, "Oh yeah, something stopped my car." If you'd have got out your car, 3:15 a.m. it just stops because it's ground to a halt for no reason, and everyone else's does as well. Are you not telling me you're not going to get out your car and start asking people what the fuck's going on?
What's going on, yeah.
You might be able to sort of give some, at least maybe a name, maybe a description. You know?
Yeah.
So you're a non-believer then?
I am. I don't think he did the groundwork. I think what you've got
Do you
is.
think she faked it or?
I think she wanted a bit of a bite at the UFO cherry.
Yeah. What about you, Mike? What do you think?
Well, technically I'm on the fence, but
Oh, come on!
I am leaning very heavily towards she faked it.
Yeah, you more on the Wilson side, just kind of like poking your head over.
99% sure that she made it up, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I think I'm at that as well.
Now, whether you put it as discreditors or an accurate analysis of Linda, but she made sure she got a 15% cut, 25% cut.
Yeah, fair play.
You know, yeah, but that's looking after yourself and your family, isn't it? You can make this tale up, you might as well get something out of it.
Yeah.
Then UFO tales are in the vogue at this point, they are popular.
Yep.
Does it say how much she made?
No, I don't know how much she made in all fairness.
How smartphones have all come out, then like UFO, sort of abduction sightings and these things have dropped.
Well, I guess if you've been abducted, you can't use your phone at that time because you can't move.
There are plenty of pictures and videos of UFOs daily.
Saw the one from that model, didn't we? That was quite a compelling one. We had that on Weird News.
The one that flew past the window.
Yeah, belly up. Like,
If you want to go looking for them, you'll definitely find them.
there's
Whether they're true or not, or fakes, we don't know.
there is a fantastic one. It's meant to be the best one going, where a UFO hovers over Temple Mount in Jerusalem. It hovers there. It's seen by the balcony.
Bring back Jesus.
That's what it was doing, dropping him off.
And then it just fires right up, straight up, like really quick. And no one's ever been able to dispute it. It was witnessed by other people around the city.
I've heard that, yeah.
This guy's just got the best footage of it.
Maybe the truth is out there somewhere.
But in this case, no one ever meets Dan and Richard.
No.
Yeah.
You show me Dan and Richard, I've got and you get their credentials checked. Then again, are you ever going to get their credentials checked? That's the issue.
Yeah, it's just a load of bullshit.
I mean, if the ex-UN Secretary General comes out,
Sure, he's probably dead by now.
he possibly is, yeah.
He
If he's not, he comes out just before he died and says, yeah, it happened, then...
He was an older fella then, mate. He was
Yeah.
well in his 60s then. You're talking 30 odd years ago now.
He might still be alive. They live forever, don't they, those old rich fuckers?
You think their consciousness is transferred into a slightly younger body?
No, it's all the blood they... the young blood that they get transfused into the... Fucking vampires.
We're going to do a Weird News article about that later on.
Oh, the adrenochrome.
They're probably not beheading kids though, right?
No, they just suck out from like the spine or something.
It's sort of the fear, isn't it?
Haven't got a clue. They make them scared and then they
Allegedly.
pull it from the...
Allegedly.
they
Even though
bring
it was
from-
made up, adrenochrome, wasn't it?
Allegedly.
It's a drug.
Yeah.
It's
from-
a real thing.
It's what comes from
Pituitary
pituitary gland that produces the insulin.
I once got into a fight with the UN on Twitter.
But being used as a drug, it was made up in a
Insulin?
book.
No. Not
Leave-
insulin.
Leaving, no, not
What's
leaving
the
Las
word?
Vegas.
Does you remember?
Fear and
Adrenaline.
Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
It's made up
It's a
for
real
that book.
thing.
There's a drug.
Yeah. But could it have been a bit of dropping the truth?
Or maybe.
It
You
could
know,
have been a
that's
bit
why
of
it's-
that soft disclosure almost.
Yeah.
They're dropping those little snippets of truth in, aren't they?
Yeah.
Where they can, these Hollywood actors that maybe don't go with the grain or something.
Can you trust the UN?
About as much as you could trust any other government, I think.
I got into an argument once on Twitter.
Corruption
With the
or
UN.
Yeah.
power levels, isn't there? Well, yeah, that's for another day. Should we end the show?
Yeah, we need to.
Yeah, well, there you go. I'm off the fence with this one.
Wow.
I'm not going aliens. That's one thing. I think there's a bit of fakery going on. My gut tells me.
On that bombshell.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Don't drink the flavor. Don't drink a cup. I've been Ben.
I've been Mike. Thanks for listening. Peace out. May the force be with you.
I've been Claire, keep an open mind, but not so open that it spills out your ears.
And I've been Pete. All enjoy the rest of your week. Farewell.